I mean, it's simple. You have to come out and play with the killer instinct. You have to have that intensity.
Where was that tonight?
I have no idea. I hate watching the Lakers play sometimes because towards the end they try to play the hero ball. Okay. You said LeBron James the greatest player ever?
Ever.
What about Michael and Kobe? So you just gonna pass Kobe up like that?
I'm gonna pass Kobe up. I'm gonna look at Michael. I'm gonna look at the. I'm gonna look at.
I knew it. Patron, America.
Yo.
When Shaquille O'Neal tells LeBron James to stop comparing himself to Michael Jordan, it hits differently once you actually look at the numbers. Because at that point, it stops being just opinion and starts becoming a real debate about legacy, dominance, and what greatness actually means. And once you line their resumes up side by side, the conversation gets complicated fast. Think about this for a second. LeBron has already passed 40,000 career points, making him the NBA's all-time leading scorer, while also sitting near the top of the all-time assists list. That's almost impossible to process. We're talking about a player who could retire as the greatest scorer ever while also being remembered as one of the greatest playmakers the league has ever seen. Jordan's numbers, though, tell a completely different story. He finished with 32,292 career points, which is still one of the most untouchable scoring resumes in league history. But the way he got those points is what made him terrifying. Jordan averaged 30.1 points per game for his career, still the highest mark in NBA history. LeBron sits closer to 27 per game, but he sustained that level for more than 2 decades. And right there is the core of the debate. Jordan represents peak dominance. LeBron represents sustained greatness. Jordan's prime felt like total control. 6 championships. A perfect 6-0 finals record. 6 finals MVPs. No Game 7s in the finals. Every time he reached the biggest stage, he finished the job. That's why so many fans describe his legacy as basketball perfection. LeBron's story is different. He's reached the finals 10 times, won 4 championships, and done it across multiple franchises, systems, teammates, and eras of basketball. That kind of longevity is almost unheard of. Staying relevant for that long, while adapting your game over and over again, takes a completely different kind of greatness. And that's really what Shaq seems to be pointing at. The comparison gets messy because these two legends dominated in different ways. Jordan overwhelmed the league with unmatched peaks and flawless finals results. LeBron overwhelmed the league with endurance, versatility, and the ability to remain elite long after most superstars fade away. So, when people argue about the GOAT debate, they're usually arguing about what they value more. Do you value perfection at the highest level? Or do you value longevity and sustained excellence over 20-plus years? Because depending on your answer, your GOAT probably changes.
Where do we start? It's just amazing at his age.
Yeah.
What he came into the league, what we perceived him as an athlete, a dunker.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing as a complete scorer, shooter, and everything else under the sun. So it was just a cool moment. See him get to his spot, fade away, new record.
Here's the part that often gets ignored in this debate. LeBron James has played more than 1,400 regular season games and over 280 playoff games. That's basically several extra seasons of high-pressure basketball on top of an already historic career. Michael Jordan, meanwhile, played a little over 1,070 regular season games and around 179 playoff games. Those numbers are still legendary, but the gap matters when people bring up finals losses. Because yes, LeBron has more finals losses. But he also had far more opportunities to reach that stage in the first place. He stayed in championship contention longer than almost anyone the league has ever seen. And that's where a lot of younger fans oversimplify the conversation. They see 6 rings versus 4 rings and think the debate ends there. But what Shaquille O'Neal is really pointing out is that greatness is more complicated than counting championships. If rings alone decided everything, then players like Robert Horry would be sitting in GOAT conversations too. That's why context matters. Competition matters. Longevity matters. Jordan's greatness was built on perfection at the highest level. Once he reached the finals, he never lost. That kind of dominance created an almost mythical aura around his career. LeBron's greatness is built differently. It's about surviving across eras, adapting to different teams and systems, and staying elite deep into his career while the league constantly changes around him. One legacy is defined by flawless peaks. The other is defined by sustained excellence over an unprecedented amount of time. And that's why the debate never really ends.
They didn't have focus, and I'm glad the Rockets beat them. We know what needs to be done to win the championship. LeBron knows that. I'm surprised that they didn't come out with that effort and intensity, and I'm super disappointed in the Lakers.
Now let's talk about overall impact, because this is where LeBron James really separates himself from almost everyone in basketball history. For his career, LeBron has averaged roughly 27 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists per game across more than 2 decades. That kind of production is almost impossible to comprehend. We're not just talking about scoring anymore. We're talking about a player who can control every aspect of the game for 20+ years and still remain elite. Michael Jordan, meanwhile, averaged around 30 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists for his career. Those numbers are still unbelievable, but Jordan's role was different. His game was built around scoring pressure, defensive dominance, and closing moments. And defensively, Jordan probably has the edge overall. He won Defensive Player of the Year and earned 9 All-Defensive First-Team selections. At his peak, he was devastating on both ends of the floor. LeBron has absolutely had elite defensive stretches throughout his career, especially during his Miami years, but he hasn't maintained that same level of defensive intensity as consistently across his entire career. And this is where the debate gets complicated. Because now you're not just comparing two players. You're comparing two completely different basketball identities. Jordan was the ultimate closer. The scorer. The assassin. The guy you trusted to take the last shot every single time without hesitation. His greatness felt direct and ruthless. LeBron operates differently. He's more like an entire offensive system by himself. He controls tempo, manipulates defenses, creates opportunities for teammates, and usually makes what he believes is the smartest basketball play, even if that means passing up a difficult shot for a better one. So depending on what you value, your answer changes. If you value killer instinct, scoring dominance, and peak intensity, you probably lean Jordan. If you value versatility, playmaking, adaptability, and total floor control, you probably lean LeBron. And here's what makes the debate even tighter. Advanced stats don't separate them as much as people think. LeBron owns one of the highest player efficiency ratings in NBA history, right alongside Jordan. His win shares are higher largely because of longevity, meaning he's contributed to more total team success over time simply by sustaining greatness for longer than almost anyone ever has. But Jordan's peak seasons are still viewed as some of the most dominant stretches the sport has ever seen. There were years where he looked completely unstoppable offensively while also locking players down defensively. That's why this debate never really gets settled. Jordan's case is built on unmatched peaks and perfection at the highest level. LeBron's case is built on versatility, endurance, and an unprecedented level of sustained greatness. They both changed basketball. They just did it in completely different ways.
I'm going to say one thing to you, Max. I don't know the numbers like you do. Michael Jordan is what in the finals? 6 and what?
Oh.
And what is LeBron in the finals? That's all I got to say.
This is where a lot of younger fans and players make a mistake. They try to force one definition of greatness onto everybody, as if there's only one way to become legendary. But what Shaquille O'Neal is really saying is that greatness doesn't always look the same. Michael Jordan built his legacy through dominance and finality. Once he reached the top, he finished the job every single time. His greatness felt ruthless, almost untouchable. 6 championships. 6 finals MVPs. No Game 7s in the finals. Every postseason run added to the mythology. LeBron James represents a completely different kind of greatness. His legacy is built on evolution, adaptability, and survival at the highest level for longer than anyone thought possible. He's changed teams, systems, teammates, and even playstyles while still remaining elite deep into his late 30s and early 40s. And that's where Shaq's message really connects. When he says LeBron should stop comparing himself to Jordan, he's not saying LeBron isn't worthy of the conversation. He's saying LeBron's career has become so unique that it doesn't need validation through someone else's legacy anymore. Because if you take Jordan out of the equation for a second and just look at LeBron's resume on its own, it sounds unreal. All-time leading scorer in NBA history. Top 5 all-time in assists. More than 20 All-Star appearances. Multiple MVP awards. Championships with different franchises. Finals appearances across different eras of basketball. And somehow, after all those miles, he's still producing at an elite level while most players from his generation have long since retired. That's not normal greatness. That's historical longevity combined with elite production at a level the league has never really seen before. And maybe that's the bigger point Shaq is trying to make. Jordan's greatness doesn't need LeBron to validate it, and LeBron's greatness doesn't need Jordan either. They've both already built resumes strong enough to stand on their own. The problem is that fans keep trying to turn two completely different careers into one final scoreboard comparison, when in reality, they represent two different versions of basketball excellence.
When LeBron passes up Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in points, and he will this year, will that make him the greatest player ever? Okay. An interesting question.
This is where the conversation gets dangerous for LeBron James. Because the longer he keeps getting compared to Michael Jordan, the more every single moment gets magnified. Every missed shot becomes a debate topic. Every playoff loss turns into a legacy discussion. Every bad game gets stacked against a standard that most players could never realistically reach. And that's exactly what Shaquille O'Neal seems to be pushing back against. He's basically asking, why are we still forcing this into one direct comparison when the numbers already prove LeBron's greatness in a completely different way? Because if you separate their careers for a moment and stop trying to make one erase the other, you start to realize this may not even be the same kind of greatness. Jordan was the peak. LeBron is the marathon. Jordan was the perfect storm, a player whose prime felt almost flawless at the highest level. LeBron has been the constant force, adapting, evolving, and surviving through multiple eras while staying relevant longer than almost anyone in sports history. And that leads to the real question at the center of this debate. If LeBron finishes with something like 42,000 points, 11,000 rebounds, and 11,000 assists, does that outweigh Jordan's perfect finals record and unmatched scoring dominance? Or does perfection still matter more than longevity? That's why this debate never truly ends. There's no universal answer because people value different things. Some fans prioritize peak dominance and flawless championship performances. Others value versatility, endurance, and sustained excellence over decades. And honestly, the statistics don't settle the debate at all. They actually make it harder. Because the deeper you look, the more impossible it becomes to reduce two completely different careers into one final answer.